Buon pomeriggio, un saluto particolare ai relatori, soprattutto stranieri, che hanno raccolto l'invito e saranno per noi fonte di grande interesse nel momento in cui ascolteremo le loro presentazioni, e sarà questa l'occasione per fare un po' il punto, lo stato dell'arte sullo sviluppo di questo tool. Un tool che ovviamente fa parte delle strategie europee. Oggi ne abbiamo parlato molto nella precedente sessione, abbiamo parlato delle 3 sfide della strategia, della comunicazione della strategia 2014-2020, che si muove in linea di continuità con la precedente strategia 2007-2012, che aveva come obiettivo principale la riduzione degli infortuni del 25%, un obiettivo che è stato ampiamente realizzato, visto che i dati Eurostat recentemente pubblicati a ottobre di quest'anno mostrano per i paesi a 15 a livello europeo una riduzione pari all'obiettivo programmato. Per l'Italia ci tengo a dire che l'obiettivo è stato ampiamente raggiunto, perché parliamo di una diminuzione degli infortuni del 2012 rispetto al 2007 del 34%. Parlo sempre di un tasso infortunistico di tipo standardizzato, quindi a parità di occupati, sempre per 100.000 occupati. Ovviamente la strategia di cui dicevamo anche stamattina si muove in linea di continuità con le precedenti, e fra gli obiettivi di questa strategia la semplificazione dell'applicazione della legislazione negli Stati membri, i supporti alle PMI per favorire il processo di valutazione dei rischi, il tutto in un'ottica di fornire strumenti operativi reali, concreti, di utilità per le aziende, ma che poi diventano di utilità per i lavoratori, è assolutamente importante, ed è questa la motivazione per la quale l'Italia ha firmato il Memo of Understanding, aderendo come sistema paese allo sviluppo di questo tool, che ci ha visto quest'anno molto impegnato. Poi nella relazione della collega daremo evidenza di quello che è stato il nostro percorso. Quindi, come dicevo, questa sessione, che è una sessione molto tecnica, molto operativa, ma direi che è il caso di fare cose concrete, sarà proprio l'occasione per dare un po' un excursus di quello che è stato questo tool OiRA, che si inserisce in un insieme di altri tool recentemente illustrati, no? In una conferenza a Parigi il 20 ottobre, in collegamento anche con altri tipi di piattaforme, penso all'OiRA Wiki, che è un altro sistema per fare rete e per condividere linee guida e strumenti applicativi, e quindi capire, sulla base anche di queste esperienze, delle criticità che si sono sviluppate nel percorso di tailorizzazione di questo strumento, come è stato affrontato nei diversi paesi, come si pensa di diffonderlo, quali i primi dati anche di ritorno dall'applicazione di questi tool, che al di là della semplificazione contribuiscono anche a standardizzare il processo di valutazione, quindi qualificare anche il processo di qualificazione e omogenizzarlo all'interno delle PMI. Io darei subito quindi la parola a Lorenzo Murale, che possiamo definire il papà del tool OiRA, è il project manager dell'Agenzia Europea, che si occupa fra le diverse iniziative, ma in particolar modo del supporto tecnico allo sviluppo del tool OiRA. Prego. I think it's open. It's open.
It's okay. Sorry. Okay. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be present here and to have the opportunity to give this presentation. And I would like to thank you personally, but also on behalf of the European Agency for Safety and Health, and also on behalf of the OiRA community, which is made of all these institutions, labor inspectorates, ministry, national institutes, who are partners of the OiRA project and decided to implement OiRA in their country. I think the purpose of my presentation, I guess, is to set a little bit the context of risk assessment among small companies, the challenges that we are facing in all the countries, I would say, even in each country is a little bit different. I think we are sharing the challenges. And then also mention OiRA, and it will be presented as an opportunity to try to overcome the challenges small companies are facing to properly assess risk assessment, or more generally manage OiRA. So first of all, let me tell you something about risk assessment in general. So risk assessment is very important. It's the cornerstone of the European approach to prevent occupational accidents and ill health. And it's the start of the health and safety management approach. If we don't carry out the risk assessment, if we don't identify the risk, it's unlikely we are going to prevent them. That's why this is so important. And I think we have become more and more familiar with this concept of risk assessment, because it was mentioned, it's from the Directive 89, in which we mentioned for the first time risk assessment, and over years it has been transposed in the national legislation. And I think even in small companies, even if they don't know exactly what does it mean exactly, a risk assessment, they know it's about identifying the problems and finding the solutions. And we can, Krista Selacek, today she mentioned the SN2, the new survey we carry out, the fieldwork was carried out in 2004, and we got the very first results. And we are asking about companies if they are carrying out the risk assessment. And she mentioned that Italy was doing quite well, at least in the statistics. So many companies, I think more than 90% of them say that they were carrying out a risk assessment. But we know that thousands of companies all over Europe assess the risks. But we know also that many others, especially among small companies, do not assess the risk. And this is the main challenge. And we can see in the statistics that the small companies, I insist in micro less than 10, small less than 50, because they are the big majority. And OiRA project is targeting small companies. So basically we are talking about, at EU level, 92% of the companies are considered small. And we will see in other countries is even more. And we are talking, depending, this is the average, about 32% of the workers are working in small companies. But I know in some countries, like in Greece, our colleague from Greece, he will underline probably the fact more than 80% of the workers work in small companies. And in some countries, most of the workers work in small companies. And the tendency is to grow. The number of small companies is growing over the years. Then we know, and this is to mention SN1, that the size of the workplace is the strongest predictor of the health and safety management. You can see here, below 150 employees, the management of OiRA starts to fall rapidly. And you can see clearly the trend here. And in SN2, for the first time, we survey also companies with less than 10 workers. And we don't have the results for that, but probably is even going down more rapidly. So this is a composite score in which we take into account different questions, but this is the challenge. We have a problem with small companies. All the statistics show that. And now, just to illustrate in a more visual way the problems we are facing in small companies, this is a chart, a graphic from a research carried out in France. In fact, it was in the framework of the European campaign on chemicals in 2010. They ran an information and inspection campaign regarding risk assessment and chemical risk. And they focus in two sectors, cleaning sector and the car repair sector. So basically they informed that they had to do a risk assessment, and they control the risk assessment, the quality of the risk assessment also. So you can see among the companies surveyed, among the smallest one, 44% didn't have a risk assessment. And the ones having a risk assessment, among this one, 27% didn't deal or identify the chemical risk, when we know in the car repair sector there are chemical risks. So this is the issue I want to mention here. And when we talk about risk assessment, the problem is not all the companies assess the risk, but even in the companies assessing the risk, there is a quality issue. They are not even dealing with the more important risk in the sector. So this is the message. So when we are asking them why you don't assess the risk, the main reason, among the smallest one, is because it's not necessary, because we don't have problems. So this is a real challenge. There is a problem of awareness. And even if we go back to them with a very nice tool, if we are not able to convince them, they are not going to use, because the feeling they got is they don't have problems. And we were checking with SNA2, the very first results. It's exactly the same. Even the tendency is even more important with the ones with less than 10 employees. You can see they say, we know the risk, no problems. Some of them says that they lack expertise to do that, and only 1 out of 5 among the less than 10 mentioned that the procedure is too complicated, but only 1 out of 5. So this is not the main risk, the main problem, let's say. The main problem is they feel they don't have problems. So that was to set a little bit the context regarding risk assessment and micro small companies. And I guess this is something common to all member states. Perhaps there are national differences, perhaps the situation is a little bit better in some countries or the other, but this is common. There is an issue about the number that the risk assessment task is not universally spread. Not all companies assess the risk, and the quality of the risk assessment. We were mentioning that some of them in this specific sector didn't assess the chemical risk, but we know the tendency is to focus on immediate risk of falls. They don't take into account the long-term effects of risk on the health of people, all the risk related to organizational work, they are not considered. So this is the main problem regarding the quality. At the same time, and over the years, we have seen that a new generation of tools has emerged. And at the same time, more and more companies use internet, have access to internet, and use devices like computers, smartphones, tablets, and things like that. And the OSH sector, occupational safety and health sector, is not strange to this trend. So now we see, and OiRA is a good example, of this new generation of risk assessment tools, compared to the traditional ones in paper. So, for instance, in the Netherlands, they developed the RIA, which it was taken by the agency. It's OiRA, basically, is the same tool. But we have in other countries like Ireland, who developed their own tool. It's called BSmart. In Spain, they got one similar called Evaluate. And in the UK, they got also other interactive tools. So OiRA is not the only interactive risk assessment tool. There are many others. In some other countries, develops some of the tools. And this is one of the messages we wanted to send you from the beginning. This, of course, in this seminar, we will focus on OiRA. But OiRA is just an example of these risk assessment tools. And we are going to present it here as a way to help, as I was going to mention here, to help public institutions, labor inspectors, ministries, social partners, to improve OSH among micro small companies. And here also the message is that these tools are not the solution, the only solution. We are not saying that, but it brings new opportunities to try to help micro small companies to improve in the task of assessing the risk. So now, just to present very quickly OiRA, we are talking about 15 EU countries involved in OiRA. If we mention the EU, because sometimes we develop tools at EU level, we can say that we have 16. And at the same time, we are collaborating very closely with these countries, I mentioned already Ireland, the UK, Spain, or even Estonia, who develop similar tools. Because we are sharing experience about not only about the development of the tool, but especially from the promotion side. Because we all share the same challenge. We have tools, but if we don't manage to reach the end users, if even companies don't know about the tools, it's unlikely they are going to use them. So we have to reach them, and it's very challenging for micro small companies. And then once we reach them, we have to make sure we at least encourage them to use the tools. And also we are quite active at the EU sectoral social level. Armindo Silva was mentioned, the EU sectoral level. We develop already 5 tools among the social partners at EU level. And we develop these tools in English, and of course with the idea that then are taken at national level. And this is what is happening. So OiRA is a software already available in 18 languages, and we have already published 62 tools, but we have to say that at the end of 2014 we only had 14. So 1 year later we managed to reach a kind of very quickly a critical mass of 48 tools we publish. This is why it's taking some time. Before we start, you saw in Italy how long it can take the process to start with the tool and agree, especially because we develop these tools involving the social partners, even in a tripartite environment. So of course it will be much easier in other contexts, but it's important because we are building a consensus, and this is the important thing. Because then after we publish the tool, we have to promote, and the ones who were involved are going to be the first one to promote the tools. So by the end of the year, we publish tools in 13 countries, and we expect to publish new tools in 2 other countries. So by the end of the year, we will cover 15 countries. In terms of user accounts, because we develop statistics, so we know how many people register to have an OiRA account. We are close to the 15,000 people who open an account, and in terms of the risk assessment created, we reach the 20,000. And it's because sometimes one company can have several risk assessments, and because you have to keep it updated, so you basically use the one from 2012 to do the one for 2013, and you keep the others. So that's why we have more. So this is just to provide an overview of the project. But the real added value of the project is the fact that we set up a community. So OiRA is open source project, the software is. So basically, we have people in different countries having access to this common platform. So as soon as we develop a tool in one country, the other countries can have access to this tool. Of course, they can copy, paste, translate it. So basically, we are sharing information, good practice, photos. So it's much easier to develop a tool because you can use a tool already published. And to make easier this transfer, we translate the tools into English, so to make easier this transfer. And for us, this is very good, at least for the agency, because we are supposed to share experience, information, knowledge at EU level. And this is a way to do it in a more automatic way. Of course, we share also the perception that we are benefiting from this economy of scale. Some countries develop tools from scratch, and some others have limited resources. So instead of doing from scratch, they are building the tools already published in other countries. So they see the added value of the community. And of course, the main OiRA partners are public institutions, social partners. So the idea is we publish tools and we put them at the disposal of the end users for free. Because we know also there is a kind of private market. We know that there are insurance companies or private experts who develop these kind of tools. But of course, companies have to pay for that. And also public institutions, social partners, we think that we have to produce these very good quality tools and put them at the disposal of end users for free. And now I would like to come to the opportunities related to OiRA, but it could be also work for any other interactive tool. So the added value of this new generation of tools is that the dissemination is facilitated through internet. And internet is free, let's say. We use this platform to be able to reach, and we know how difficult it is to reach small companies. This is the added value if you compare with the traditional guides on paper that you have to print and you have to distribute. Then also the other added value is that the content is evolving, is there is a change in the legislation in Italy related to OiRA. You go to the content management system, you go to the software, you introduce the change, you update it, you publish, and then the tool is updated. If there is any kind of change, you want to add examples of good practice, at any time you can introduce it. Compare with the traditional guides. You have a guide and you say, this one is from 2010. I mean, the employee, and he doesn't know if it's updated or not. While using the tool, we give them some guarantees that the information is updated. Also, the tool can be perceived as a platform from which to have access to other sources of information. Now we think about the Italian tool. Inail, for sure, they develop a lot of information, perhaps videos about, ergonomic issues. So you can put a link on the tool and send the people to these other sources of information, or even to videos on YouTube in which you illustrate the problem or the solution. So it's a platform also. And this is very important, is the possibility also to monitor the development and use of these tools. And you will see in the presentation from my colleagues from the different countries, they develop also statistics about the use, because we have to be accountable also of our projects. We are spending public money. We have to be transparent and accountable. And with this project, we can see if we are reaching our target use. With the traditional checklist or guides on paper, you distribute it, but you never knew if people were really using or not. With this project, we know, because we know if people are registering or not. We can always also ask them if they are happy with the tool or not. If they invite other colleagues to use the tool. So we can have some feedback about the end users. And of course, we are also improving knowledge about also these, how to target these micro, small companies, because we can see that if we, for instance, if we launch some promotional activities and we see that there are some peaks that you can link to these activities, you can see if this promotional activity is having some success, if you manage to attract more end users. So you are learning also how to manage, most of the time, limited resources to reach your target audience. So the main also purpose of these tools is to empower micro, small companies to manage OiRA. Because most of the time, some of them, the employees of these companies say, okay, I would like to do the risk assessment, but I don't even know how to start to do that. So these tools also have a kind of more pedagogical dimension. You are taken from one step to the other, and at the end you manage to have your risk assessment down. So the idea is to encourage them to manage OiRA more in-house, or at least in a more autonomous way. And of course, you have also the external services, but to use them in a more complementary way. You can ask them to bring an added value with good guidance. If a tool, risk assessment tool, well designed, you can help a company to deal with slips and trips and falls, I think, quite easily. Perhaps they are going to struggle with the chemical risk and noise, and this, for dealing with this specific risk, perhaps you can ask for expert advice and really improve. But the idea is you empower companies to become also more aware of the risk, and they are taking more control of the risk assessment process. So this is linked what I mentioned, because one of the problems we are having these micro, small companies is they are not aware of the risk. They think they are, but in fact they are not. So it's a way also to contribute to increase the risk awareness among these people. And we can see also that OiRA tools are used also for training and information purposes. And this was not the main purpose of the tool, but we know in some countries they are using this in vocational training. For instance, for the hairdressers or for the students who are going to become a hairdresser. Instead of telling them about risk assessment in general or the risk, you put them in front of one of these tools and you invite them to go through all the process, and they are becoming aware of the risk or the risk assessment process, and perhaps when they become professional, they will use these kind of tools. So also this tool is a new opportunity also to set up new partnerships. Most of these tools are developed in partnership by the social partners or at one point they are validated by the ministry, or is the other way around. Sometimes it's the ministry taking the initiative and the social partners are invited in the process of validating the tool. So it's a way also to encourage this tripartism, the collaboration between the social partners, but also, for instance, we can see the employers' organizations most of the time are interested in these kind of tools because they have the members who pay fees to have services in exchange. So this is something they can offer to the members to improve, to deal with risk assessment. Of course, also this is a good opportunity to try to set up a partnership with insurance companies who are in contact with micro small companies to try to promote and reach micro small companies. Also, these tools we started to this are very convenient also to be promoted through platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. So the idea is when an employer is happy with these tools, so he can share with his peers through Twitter, Facebook, the fact that he did his risk assessment with this tool and inviting others to use it. So this is something we are going to start doing it, but we think it could be a good idea. And also, and just to finish, also OiRA is an important resource in a larger program strategy. And if we want OiRA to be effective, and is in this context when it's, let's say, much more powerful. And I'll give an example. It's not the same when you promote OiRA as a standalone product than when you put it, let's say, in a kind of program in which you provide training, information, and then a tool so they can do the risk assessment. And our colleagues, for instance, from France can explain some initiative they carry out in the past, in which, for instance, for the new employers setting their business, for instance, for the road transport sector, they were offer a package in which they were offer training, information. They were invited to use OiRA, and they even receive a kind of economic incentive, a discount when they were buying, safety equipment for the lorries. So basically, in this kind of context is when OiRA could be much more effective, let's say. So, and this is what I just mentioned is also working for any other interactive risk assessment tool, not only OiRA. So in your country, I don't know where they are coming. Most of you are, I guess, are Italians, but we know in Ireland, in Spain, and in other countries, this is the added value or the opportunity to try to improve risk assessment in micro companies through these tools. And just before finishing, we were thinking that perhaps most of you don't know the tool. So before continuing, the idea was to give you a very short presentation of the tool so you can see about what we are talking about. So I'm going to show you the tool in French for the catering sector. So, because my colleague from the INRS, this is the institute who developed the tool in France, is going to refer to this tool. So we thought it was going to be a good idea to introduce to this one. So basically, in the OiRA tool, we propose a stepwise approach to risk assessment. So first of all, the first step is the preparation. And you can see we give visibility to the institutions who were involved. I know in Italy, many institutions were involved. So here we have the logo of the trade union, the employers, the Inail. It's a way to give visibility also to... You can see the logo of the agency is not even appearing here. So basically, it's the one who produced the tools, who put their logo, and also they promote the tool in your own websites. And here you can see, as I mentioned, you can put links also. Links to introduce the company, the organization who were involved in the process of developing the tools and things like that. So this is, let's say, the introduction. And then you move to the first step is what we call the hazard identification. So here you can see modules, different modules. We are in the catering sector. And the idea, this is the introduction to a module. You can see that we put photos. The idea is to make it quite visual and attractive. And then this is the introduction to a module. And then you have here the questions, the situations you want to reach. And basically, I'm going to do it very, very quickly. The idea is just to show you how it works. So basically, if you say yes, it means that you don't have a problem. Here, you have an introduction about the topic, and here you can make comments, all the comments you wish, and they will appear in the report. And if you say yes, you will have a green tick here. That means you don't have a problem. If you say no, well, here you cannot see because I moved to another one. You are going to have a red cross. That means you have a problem. You have to deal with this. And sometimes you are at the workplace level, and perhaps you have to check with employers, with employees, and things like that, because you cannot answer right now. So you can pass the question. You have a question mark. That means you will have to deal with this. You park it, let's say. Okay. So basically, you know how it works. Different modules. You have questions. I know in Italy, you are not using this in the same system. So, but just to show you how it works. As I mentioned to you, you can put here the links where to find more information if you want to know more. So the idea is this is a platform for where to find more information. And then you go through all the questions and modules, and you go to the risk evaluation. You have to evaluate the risk. There are different methods to do this, is one among others. So you have to establish the priority related to the risk. And then you move, when you finish, you move to the action plan, for which you will have to think about the preventive measures you will have to adopt. So for instance, the system itself can also propose preventive measures. Because this is the idea. Most of the company says, well, I know we didn't need an expert to let us know that we have a problem with the noise. We are more interested in knowing what we can do. So the system proposes solutions already. Then the company, it's up to the company to see if it fits or not. But we are proposing solutions. And then you can add all the questions you want. You can write down your own preventive measures. But this is the idea. We encourage to the developers of tools to propose solutions to the companies. And then you do like this. For all the risks you spotted, you will think about the preventive measures. And then the tool automatically generates two kinds of reports. Let's say the full report, in which you show that you went through all the risk, you establish the priority, the preventive measure, you mention who is responsible. Let's say the full report, just in case of the labor inspector show up, and you have to show evidence that you assess the risk. This is how I think companies perceive it. And then also the tool also generates an action plan. Of course, it's going to be not very complete here. So in which we mention the risk, the priority, the measures, and this is more an action plan for the companies to guide them in the process of implementing the measures and to prevent the risk. So this is very, very, very quickly the tool, how it works. So now I think that's all from my side.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Grazie. Grazie per la presentazione che ci ha, soprattutto qualcuno che non conosce lo strumento, ci ha dato qualche idea un pochino più precisa di come è costruito. Volevo sottolineare alcune parole chiave di questo tool, che favorisce il dialogo sociale, che contribuisce a fare rete, quindi a creare delle comunità, siano esse a livello del sistema paese e con gli altri paesi, è un modo di socializzazione della conoscenza, è un modo anche per fare democrazia della conoscenza. La conoscenza non deve essere solo da addetti ai lavori, noi dobbiamo essere in grado di disseminare, quindi di fare disseminazione come se fosse un virus benefico di ciò che conosciamo per trasferirlo alla realtà lavorativa. È il nostro ruolo sociale di esperti che devono condurre per mano le aziende, quindi favorire questa disseminazione, e questo tool ha intrinsecamente queste caratteristiche, così come è importante il concetto di trasparenza e di possibilità di monitorarne l'utilizzo, e su questo poter anche intervenire attraverso il monitoraggio, attraverso la valutazione del gradimento degli utenti, come su questo poi poter migliorare e quindi produrre sempre più strumenti di valore. Io passerei adesso la parola subito al collega National Focal Point della Grecia, il dottor Yannis Konstantopoulos, che ci illustrerà l'esperienza greca rispetto alla customizzazione di questo tool.
Good afternoon to everybody. I'd like first of all to thank the Italian Ministry for Labour and the Inail, the National Institute, on behalf of the Hellenic Ministry of Labour, for inviting us here today. And I would like to share with you our experience regarding the development of the OiRA project in Greece. Where is...
Presentation.
Yes. Okay. So I can hear. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So... Possible? Is it okay? Okay, thank you. So, the OiRA project, under the continuous support of the European Agency for Safety and Health at Work, has been introduced in Greece since 2010, and has been perceived as an integral part of our national OSH strategy, and at the same time, it was an integral part of our wide spectrum of actions aiming to the fostering and the promotion of OSH culture among the micro and small companies. The scope of this presentation, as I said earlier, is to give an overview of the already implemented activities and the gained experience regarding the development and promotion of more or less 10 OiRA tools in Greece, for the specific needs of selected economic sectors, for the catering sector, the hairdressing, the laundries and dry cleaning, the butcher shops, bakeries and pastries, commercial shops, offices, pharmacies, woodworking and private security services. And if I will have some time, I'll give you our plans for the future. Regarding Regarding the SMEs business environment in Europe, possibly you know that micro, small and medium enterprises represent the vast majority of enterprises in Europe. This is the case in Greece, possibly in a more extreme way. In Greece, they are representing almost the 99.6%, where more than, as Lorenzo said earlier, more than the 80% of the working population is occupied. We know also that they are suffering through poor working conditions, high numbers regarding accidents and injuries at work, and the lack of an appropriated OSH culture. With regards to other main challenges facing SMEs today under the time of crisis, such as the difficulty in finding customers, doing businesses, the high cost of production or labor, the financial crisis and the economic recession has hit drastically SMEs, especially in our country, and the economic conditions remain still difficult and fragile from them. The Greek micro and small companies have suffered the biggest decline in their total number and the number of employees in comparison with the year 2008. And of course, all we know that SMEs account for the vast majority of occupational injuries, including fatal accidents. And this is a real fact that if something like this happened in a small and micro company, maybe this will be catastrophic, and possibly a small enterprise is too hard to recover of it. So from the other side, it is also true that the current economic climate under the current economic climate, SMEs are very focused on their day-to-day business, and very often for them, OSH is not in the core of their businesses. So we have the results, and as Lorenzo showed us earlier, from the Essener survey. From that survey, it was back to 2009, we know that the most important reasons for less favorable occupational safety and health conditions in micro and small companies is their lack of knowledge, first, and then the lack of financial and human resources to pay for managing in an adequate way occupational safety and health risks. And especially regarding risk assessment, the main reason is the lack of awareness and the lack of the required expertise and knowledge. We know those responses saying that it is not necessary, we have not major problems, or it is because of the lacking of the necessary expertise. So the Essener survey has stressed out as well that smaller companies are less likely to carry out formal risk assessment procedures, and consequently there is still a big challenge for conducting risk assessment on a systematic, stepwise approach, which is also ensuring quality, particularly in the field of micro, small, and medium-sized companies, which may lack, as I said, of a lack of OSH risk prevention and the lack of the required resources, experiment, and knowledge to pay. Okay, so this is more or less the rationale for the OiRA project. The OiRA project is offering to us, for the development, through the development and the promotion of sector tailor-made tools, the opportunity to facing the challenge of not doing risk assessment in small and micro companies by introducing and supporting risk assessment activities for the needs of various sectors, by actively involving employees and employers, organizations, and also associations, by providing technical support and guidance, by avoiding the use of too complicated, time-consuming, and expensive tools, and instead by disseminating practical solutions and friendly-to-use tools. And in addition, by combining active interventions, this is very important, with practical documentation and through the online interactive tools, and including an action plan, which is very important because we know that many enterprises, they have a typical risk assessment, 2 pages paper for the archives, and that's it. So, let me give you in brief how is the national market in Greece. Here we have the first slide with some data from back to 2009. For us, it's, let's say, the starting point for the crisis. In a nutshell, the Greek economy and the Greek market is different from the other countries, because SME sector is more important in Greece than in the average EU country, considering either the employment rate or the added value. And the percentage of large enterprises is only half of the average EU country, and they provide only the 15% of the jobs. And in parallel, the Greek SMEs market tends to be significantly smaller than the EU peers, using as criterion the number of their employees. These are some data from their estimation, official estimation, based on the different structural business statistics fact sheets. So I don't want even to compare the data between the 2009 and 2013. These are estimations. From those estimations, we know that the real GDP estimated to be in 2013 almost 23% below of the 2004 level. The SMEs employment fell by 27%, And almost 1 in 4 of the SMEs that existed in 2008 have closed down forever. But as I said earlier, these are estimations, because now, since the last year, back to 2013, we have an online registration system in our ministry. Any company is operating in Greece, by excluding only those with self-employed workers, are included in this information system. Everyone has to submit an application declaring everything has to do with their businesses regarding, let's say, the changes in employment or the changes in the salaries. So from this system, we know the figure that you can see in the slide. We have differences. I don't even dare to compare the actual data, as you can see. Through this data, we know that the share of SMEs in the Greek market has been slightly decreased in comparison of that to 2009, while the share of large enterprises has been doubled. The SME sector is presenting, and this is the impact of the crisis, the SME sector is representing the 99.7% and 6% of the total number of enterprises operating in Greece, and the great majority of them, more than 90%, are micro companies, less than 9 employees. And in addition, we know that more than 80% of that number are small companies occupied only one person. That's the general background, economic background regarding the national market in Greece. This is justified by the extremely high rate of unemployment, which is running on an annual basis between 26.5 to 27. Greece is in its 6th year of recessions. These figures, as I said, are illustrating the general economic climate. So for us, the OiRA project was a very, very good chance to try to support the micro and small companies to overcome problems related to the management, the adequate management of occupational risks. Of course, there are legislation provisions according to the European Framework Directive regarding the need for a safety engineer and occupational doctor in companies more than 50 employees. And although we have some statistics based on the SNL survey, we don't have the luxury to have our national surveys, I'm afraid. And that's why I'm afraid I'm not in a position to give you official figures regarding the rate of compliance. According to the SNR back to 2009, it was declared that 89% of the Greek enterprises were in compliance. But we have to keep in mind that this has to do only with enterprises not less than 10 employees. And this is the majority. This is the 90%. So what is depicted by the SNR survey has to do only with 10%, at least as it was back to 2009. Now the situation has changed rapidly. And due to the information we have for the Labour Inspectorate, we know in the ministry that generally speaking about the compliance of small and micro enterprises, their compliance is in a much smaller level than other medium enterprises in all around Europe. And the main reason for that is that they consider that risk assessment is rather complicated, too costly, and time-consuming. That's why for all the Greek government, it was a first priority to properly first educate employees and employers in small and micro companies, and in parallel to demystify for them the process of conducting risk assessment. That's why any tool and mechanism that could support them in that way, it was considered as very valuable. And that's why, from the very beginning, we introduced the OiRA project as a part of our national law strategy, the old one, and it will be for the new one as well. And our ministry paid at least what it was possible, only human resources to support the development, the dissemination and promotion of OiRA tools in Greece. Our target audience are micro, small, and medium companies, of course. We're addressing this project, of course, to the intermediaries, named the sectoral social partners, social professionals and practitioners, labor inspectors, public national institutional authorities, and vocational training centers. And of course, to all those who are interested to have a more practical overview of how is implementing in practice risk assessment, because we are very much interested to explore the pedagogical, the didactic dimension of the tool. It's very important for us to use them in the vocational centers in order to give a practical example to the employers that are going through these training sessions, how to conduct a risk assessment. So the national key players, as have been identified so far, are the national focal point of EUOSHA, who are the leader of this project, the National OiRA Steering Committee, the members of the National OiRA Information Network, is the network we have in Greece to disseminate our messages, OS messages, to our target audience, the Hellenic Institute for Occupational Safety and Health and Safety, the ENIAE, similar like Inail and IRS, and of course the social partners organization at national and sector level. We are following and who have adopted the same methodology which proposed by the EUOSHA. You can see in the diagram all the key players, as I said earlier. All these are under the guidance of the established National OiRA Steering Committee. And this committee was composed initially only by the members of the Greek Focal Point and our host organization, the ex-General Directorate for Working Conditions and Health, now named Directorate for, after restructuring in the public sector, named Directorate for Health and Safety. And in the process, in this project was engaged and the Hellenic Institute for Safety and Health at Work, ENIAE, after 2 years of our operation. Our mission is to develop and disseminate for free practical, user-friendly risk assessment OiRA tools. Of course, we are making use of the general methodology and generator provided to us by the EUOSHA. We're encouraging our social partners to work with us closely. We also guarantee the quality of the content of the tools and their good operation. And we are responsible for the promotion of the tools at national level. Here are the main steps in our process towards today. During the first year, we organized a seminar in Athens in order to present and introduce the project in different stakeholders. Then we had a meeting, and second one, to introduce the project to our main social partners organizations. The general feeling, it was good, it was positive, although they expressed to us their unwillingness to participate due to the problems they are facing and to the lack of human and financial resources to pay for. So it was a dilemma for us to continue or not, and to stop here. And our ministry decided to follow our proposition to undertake alone as a focal point the decision and the whole process of developing at least one pilot project based on a similar project, the first pilot project that was accomplished in Cyprus for the hairdressing sector. In the next year, after this decision, positive decision for us, we established the National OiRA Steering Committee then the first strategy for OiRA at national level, and we also developed a website section for promoting our achievements about the project. I can stay in the ministerial decision back to 2011. That was a clear engagement of our political leadership for supporting OiRA at national level. And it was clearly declared that the importance of promoting OSH principles and issues in the field of MSCs through the OiRA project and the inclusion of the OiRA tools in the framework of the National OSH Strategy 2010-2013, and the decision for developing the first pilot OiRA tool in Greece for simplicity reasons and for practical reasons, because that was an experimental study for us, decided for the bachelor sector. And then we signed a memorandum with EUOSHA, because EUOSHA is standing all the time behind us and supporting us. The main purposes of this memorandum was to formalize our cooperation, to share the philosophy behind the OiRA project, to clarify the role of the EUOSHA and the OiRA partners, to ensure the good quality of the tools, and of course to establish, as you heard earlier, an OiRA community. And I stand on, again, in a recent decision. It is dated back to March of this year. We have a new national law regarding the supported development of the Greek economy under the crisis. And under the section dedicated to the simplification measures for facilitating business, we have a legislation provision offering to the Minister of Labour the right of issuing a ministerial decision for the adoption of the OiRA platform and the OiRA tools as an alternative way for conducting risk assessment in the construction sector. And we're dealing mainly for small construction sites or a number of small contractors working to implement a biggest project. So by seriously considering the EU increasingly focuses its effort on the simplification of the existing legislation for SMEs and MSCs, on lowering the cost of their compliance, and on facilitating their access to the required information and consultancy. And with regards to the other main challenges facing SMEs in our days, through this provision, the OiRA project has been officially recognized in Greece as a tool, or as, if you want, as a methodology, to increase the efficiency of the SMEs and to further simplify their regulatory burden and their administrative burden, thus as a significant factor for facilitating business and for recovering much faster to the pre-crisis levels. So over the years, there are further developments regarding the OiRA project in Greece. We have already 10 different OiRA tools in different phases. Some of them are already published, like in that one in the catering sector. Others are pending for official approval, like for the laundries, the office sector, and the bachelor sector. Others are under development, like the private security sector. Others are under negotiation with EUOSHA. And of course, this project is supported, as I said earlier, by the Hellenic Institute for Safety and Health at Work. They have published one OiRA tool for the hairdresser sector and one for the commercial shop sector, and is pending one tool for the bakery sector, one for the woodworking, and one for the pharmacies. So, in order to give you an overview of the implemented activities, I'm obliged to go through this fact that it was understood early in this process that we not need only the simple existence of the online tools, we need that to certify and to be sure that in practice they will be used by the end users. So for us, it is very important to raise the awareness about the potential end users through specific promotional activities. One main challenge in this process is it is a top-down approach, leading by us as a ministry. And one main challenge is how to active, engage, and involve our social partners because of the situation in the country. I heard earlier Christa's impressions about how the social dialogue is operating in Italy. This is not the case in Greece. The social dialogue in Greece is in the fridge, under the blessing of the Troika. This is the way how to overcome problems like how to lowering salaries and how to lead us to the collapse of the collective agreements. So let's say the social partners organization, as a side effect, they are keeping an embargo attitude against any proposals coming from the ministry, mainly due to the situation or initiatives in the employment rate area. So we have to face this fact that the social partners are not involved actively due to this situation. So we have to work alone and to find other ways to reach the potential end users for those tools already developed, and to approach small and micro companies, for instance, using existing links through other networks, like networks operating through chambers of commerce, of chambers of finance, or in cooperation with the Hellenic branch of the Enterprise Europe Network. They are supporting us in other OSH issues, why not in the OiRA, for promoting the OiRA tools. So we are still are the leaders of the project in Greece. We are still having in our hands the development process. We are providing the required human resources, and we are still supporting the development of new tools or adaptation of already existing, because it's very interesting to stress out that the synergy behind this project, we are sharing and adapting already developed tools from other countries, and it's easier for us to adapt it in our national legislation and in the national market. We are using a mix of different media for promoting the tools. We're disseminating specific information material on this. We're publishing articles on specialized OSH issues and magazines and publications, sorry. We're organizing seminars on the OiRA project for presenting it to our social partners, and we're keeping hopes for their engagement in the future. We're organizing training seminars on the OiRA tools, focusing on specific sectors that for them we have already developed tools. There are proper training sessions in a computer room. We're learning them how to use the OiRA tools. We're presenting the OiRA project in different events around the country in the framework of the European Campaign for Healthy Workplaces. We are presenting the OiRA in different events organized with, as I said earlier, with Enterprise Europe Network around the country. In this effort, we have the support of the Hellenic Institute for Safety and Health at Work. In practice, they have supporting the use of the tools in more than 1,000 small and micro companies for different sectors: hairdressing salons, commercial shops, bakeries, and woodworking shops. And I'm giving here two lists with the main drivers and main barriers so far, as have been identified through our experience. We need, of course, the support of a national authority. We need the integration of the OiRA project in the national law strategy. We need a national OiRA policy. We need the establishment, in a second step, the establishment of a national OiRA steering committee. We need the active involvement of social partners organization. We need the active involvement of other social key players, like labor inspectors. We need some also legislative provisions related to OiRA. We need, of course, an OiRA promotion strategy. We need the effective dissemination of the OiRA tools to the potential end users. And we need to offer some provisions and to provide to end users some incentives. For instance, in one of our last training session, some participants said to us, we have to pay to participate in the training session, why not giving this amount of money back if we are using the OiRA tools in practice? Think about. So, regarding the main barriers, we have limited reach to SMEs and SMEs, MSCs and SMEs. There is a poor safety and health culture among them. They have limited human resources and financial resources to pay for. We have to deal with the negative impact of financial crisis. There is a case of lack of the required IT skills in this sector, although through the experience we have during the last training sessions, more than 90% of them, they told us that they are making use of internet and Facebook. So the way is open for us. And there are some confidentiality concerns, but I think that we have overpassed them with the support of the agency so far. So coming to the conclusion, since the adoption of the European Framework Directive back to 2089, the risk assessment, a formal procedure following the legal obligation, is the cornerstone to an effective approach for promoting health and safety at work, and still a great challenge for micro, small, and medium enterprises, which may lack of an OSHA culture and the required resources, experience, and knowledge to pay for carrying proper risk assessment in a systematic way, stepwise approach, which also is ensuring good quality. The previous European campaign, European Community strategy, called for the development of simple tools to facilitate risk assessment in micro and small companies. And more recently, the new EU strategic framework calls for providing financial and technical support on implementing OiRA and other IT-based tools in order to facilitate compliance with OSHA legislation between micro and small companies. The OiRA project is the first initiative at EU level to encourage those companies to assess their risks by putting at their disposal a risk assessment tool, which is free of charge. It's very important. Is available online, is easily accessible, is sector-specific targeted, and is based on the involvement of the organization representing the active sectors and end users in its development. In our country, by considering the fact that the micro and small companies, representing more than 99% of the total number of enterprises, OiRA project has a very key role to play in making more safe, healthier, and more productive the workplaces in Greece. The main aim of this project for us is not only to give to the enterprises practical tools, simple tools to facilitate their risk assessment. We are very much interested to investigate and explore the possibilities offering this tool as a training tool in order to show in practice to our employers how to conduct properly a risk assessment. And for the future, what we're thinking about? We're thinking for the development of more newer tools in the country, for creating a new promotion strategy, for implementing more promotional and training activities, for including OiRA in the mandatory thematic sessions during the training courses for the employers of low-risk enterprises, and of course for adapting all the activities around OiRA project into our new national strategy for the period 2014-2017. And we hope that at the end of this year we will be able to have a critical mass of 10 already developed tools. And if we succeed in that, we have received a promise of our political leadership to proceed to a new legislative provision in order to give the OiRA, to give to the employers of the, or to some of them, for those sectors we have already developed tools, the possibility to use the OiRA tool as an alternative for making a risk assessment, instead to contract to a safety engineer or an external service company providing protection and prevention services, not only for the category C, but for the low level of the medium risk enterprises. Thank you very much for your attention.
Grazie mille. Due parole. Direi che la dimensione pedagogica educazionale di cui si presta il tool è una dimensione che possiamo sicuramente mutuare come esperienza e anche noi sviluppare qualche idea al proposito, così come il percorso a sostegno dello sviluppo, che è molto simile, poi lo vedremo, a quella che è stata un po' la costruzione del gruppo di lavoro in Italia, ci rende molto simili le due esperienze. Direi assolutamente importante l'averlo adottato nell'ambito di una strategia nazionale, così come è importante aver adottato una legislazione specifica a supporto di OiRA, che è quello che poi vorremmo fare anche noi come sistema italiano. Assolutamente inedito la previsione anche di un incentivo alle piccole e medie imprese per l'adozione di questo strumento, ed è una cosa sulla quale mi sento anche direttamente coinvolta come istituto, poiché noi abbiamo, diciamo, dei programmi strutturali annuali di incentivi economici alle aziende che investono in salute e sicurezza, vuoi per l'adozione delle responsabilità sociali di impresa, vuoi per l'adozione dei sistemi di gestione della sicurezza sul lavoro. Potremmo pensare anche a incentivare economicamente le imprese che adottano questo sistema, quindi è una cosa assolutamente interessante che ci offre degli spunti sui quali poter anche noi contribuire al lancio all'interno del sistema Paese Italia di questo strumento. Quindi grazie per le sue suggestioni. Chiamo adesso Marc Malenfer, che è il Project Manager all'interno dell'Istituto Nazionale per la Ricerca e la Sicurezza in Francia, che ha sviluppato, fra le altre sue esperienze, una particolare esperienza di sviluppo sullo strumento OiRA. È già stato citato in premessa da Munar, e quindi siamo qui a ascoltare la sua presentazione.
Thank you for the invitation, and thank you to let me share with you a few of our experience on how you can use OiRA tool. So I would like to apologize because my presentation will be a bit shorter than Ioannis' one. Huh? Excuse me. Okay, we have already only two OiRA tools in France. Both tools are based on the contents of paper documents, paper guides. So the company have the choice. They can use the paper guides, or they can use the tool, or they can use both of them, talking on the paper guides, and after doing the risk assessment and save it in the OiRA tool. The first tool is on the road transport. It's online since October 2012. There is 10 modules in this tool. Now Lorenzo show you the tool so you know what is a module. And there is 41 hazardous situations and 95 solutions in this tool. At the end of October, we had 2,400 sessions in this tool, and the rate is around between now 80 and 100 new sessions per month. And we can see in the statistical reports of OiRA tools the rate of what we call top assessment. Maybe I need to explain you what it is a top assessment. It's when you have checked more than 70% of the hazardous situation of the tool. And for the hazardous situation which you have a problem, you have took a solution for more than 70% of them. So what we call a top assessment is a real risk assessment that have been completed. The second tool is on the catering sector. It's this one that Lorenzo showed you. It's online since the beginning of the year, and it is a more simple tool. We have only 5 modules, 27 hazardous situations, and 62 solutions. We have at the end of October, but you will see that we have an increase in November. We have around 2,000 sessions, and the rate of creation was of 130 per month, but it moved. And the rate of top assessment is around 27% for this tool. So the result is interesting. So I have to tell you how we use those tools in France. You know, INRS is a part of the social security branch for occupational health and safety. So we work with our colleagues from the regional office of the social security, and we have a national strategy, and reaching SMEs is a part of this strategy. And we define that to reach SMEs, we have to adopt a new approach. The first element is to mobilize SMEs. We need to have a sectorial approach. Okay, and the second point, very important, is that we have to build programs that are based on the target needs. Target needs analysis is the first step of each SME's program. And the third important point is that we are looking for partnerships program for each sector that we want to reach. Okay, so we say sectorial approach, so we had to choose the first sectors. And the 4 first priority professional sector are the construction, catering, car repair, and road transport. So we have an OiRA tool for road transport, one for catering. We are doing a new one for car repair for the beginning of next year. And for construction, it will be later, because it's another way of working to reach them. For each sector, we develop a specific action plan based on the target, and we have specific partners, we have specific actions. So we try to integrate OiRA tools as a part of those action plan. For example, in the 2 years that are coming, every regional health and safety insurance offices will have to promote the 2 OiRA tools. So we give them the materials. They have bookmarks or kakemono to go on events, and they have the models of advertises, and they have an objective to promote the tools, and it will be checked. So it's not an option. Every office have to do that. And you will see in my presentation, we use the stats that OiRA give us, And we use them also to evaluate the efficiency of those programs. Now I will show you a few elements from statistics data that you can have in OiRA. So in blue you see this is the progression of the increase of the number of assessment created in each tool. So you can follow the progression, and the red line is the capturing tool, and you see that something is happening in November. So that is the number of new risk assessments that have been created in the two OiRA tools. In blue you have the road transport sector, and in red you have the catering sector. And you can see the difference between the two tools and between the months when you have promotion actions. For example, at the January month is the launch of the tool, so we talk about the new OiRA tool in our newsletter. So we have 30,000 people who received the newsletter from INRS, and some of them go and to have a look, but it's a lot of those creation are curiosity. And after you see promotion action in March and April with advertising in the professional newspapers. But the big impact is on November, because every social assurance offices are starting to write to every little restaurant, less than 20 employees, to say to them, okay, you have an obligation to do your risk assessment, and you have a new tool, it's free of charge, so you must go on it and do your risk assessment. And this graph shows the evolution of the rate of top assessment. I explained you what is a top assessment, and you can see that the promotion action and the development of the OiRA use in those professions make progress the rate of top assessment. There is a natural progress also, because when you create a session, you keep it open, and you can do your risk assessment step by step. So each month you have a few users that are coming back in their risk assessment to complete the risk assessment. So you have a rate of top assessment that is increasing. Okay, why do we have those differences between catering sector and the road transport sector? The first explanation is that you have a huge number of little restaurants in France. There is nearly 100,000 restaurants in France for only 25,000 road transport companies. Okay, so you have to keep that in your mind. After, the tool is shorter and more simple. And after, you have all the catering professional organizations that are part of the working group and have endorsed the OiRA catering tool. So we have a better integration in the sector. And the most important is that we had a specific promotion plan for the catering tool. So our promotion plan tried to use different intermediaries and to reach different targets. The first target is health and safety professionals, because they are important intermediaries to reach company and to talk about risk assessment. So the first thing we do when we have a new OiRA tool, we talk about it in our health and safety media, occupational professional newsletter, our website, professional reviews, so they can promote all OiRA tool. And each time you have a new OiRA tool, it's a way to discuss about the project and to talk about all the OiRA tools. After, you have to build the promotion plan, a specific promotion plan for the target profession. So you have to work with the professional organization, with the professional media, to go in their seminar, and to reach the relays that are the trainers of the profession and the consultants. So this is an example of an article in a professional review for catering sector. After, you can also buy some advertising space in their professional newspaper to reach the companies. You can also go to their seminars. This is a picture of the congress of one of the professional organizations. So if you go in that kind of congress, you reach all the opinion leaders of the profession, the trainers, the consultant, the representative in professional organization, and they can be intermediaries to promote the tool. Okay, so to conclude, three important points. First of all, we made the experience that OiRA is a good product. It's a good tool and it works. We have a high satisfaction rate. Lorenzo went directly on the report when he showed you the tool, but in every first session of OiRA, you have a survey that is integrated in the tool, and in this survey we ask the companies can we tell us if your needs were met? Is it that what you were looking for when you connect to OiRA? And the needs were met for 94% of the users of the two French OiRA tools. And we have the same number of users that say that they would recommend the tool. So that is a good indicator of that the tool fit to the need. And after, it's very important for IT tools. We don't have any technical problems with OiRA. It works very well. It's fine, so you can use it. But OiRA is only a tool, so the success depends of the use, and it must be integrated to a real program, and you have to promote it, because you can have a beautiful tool, but see, if nobody knows that it exists, and if you don't have the motivation to do the risk assessment, the tool is not used. So you have to promote the risk assessment, and after to say, okay, you have to do your risk assessment, you have a tool. But the first step is to promote the risk assessment obligation. And after, it's also very important in our organizations. With OiRA statistic, you can monitor your action, you can evaluate your impact, you can see when I do that kind of promotion action, I have no impact, so the next time I don't have to spend time on that kind of action. And you can also give feedback to your stakeholders. You have a real visibility of the impact of your action. So it's not always good news, huh? Because you see what is the reality of the mobilization of small companies. So you know the preoccupation on health and safety is very low. So when you use that kind of tool, you can have a visibility of the reality of your impact. It's not the same that when you edit paper guides, you send it and you don't know what happened after. You have to make a specific survey to call back companies and try to know what have been done. Here you have a lot of visibility and you have to assume the result of your actions. Okay, thank you very much.
Grazie. Direi che è importante quello che ha detto adesso nelle conclusioni, che il tool appunto è un tool e va assolutamente inserito in un programma, quindi in politiche più ampie di supporto all'utilizzo, che vanno soprattutto veicolate attraverso delle vere e proprie iniziative promozionali. A me viene in mente Expo 2015, abbiamo un'opportunità l'anno prossimo, quindi ecco, potrebbe essere un contesto anche internazionale interessante per l'Italia, visto che nel 2015 sicuramente noi saremo pronti con il primo, spererei anche il secondo rilascio. Cerco di stressare il gruppo per recuperare il tempo perduto. Informazioni di servizio, noi dovremmo chiudere i lavori alle 6:30, quindi sicuramente dovremmo rimandare l'ultimo intervento a domani. Domani comunque era prevista una sessione dedicata alle domande e risposte. Avete anche voi dei fogli attraverso i quali spero, immagino che ci restituirete delle domande così che i relatori possano poi interloquire con voi domani in questa prima parte della sessione. Invito adesso la Linda Mattisana della Lettonia, che è responsabile delle unità di cooperazione e sviluppo presso l'ispettorato del lavoro della Lettonia, del manager focal point della Lettonia per l'Agenzia Europea.
Thank you for the floor. I'm not only the focal point manager for EUOSHA in Latvia, I'm also the OiRA contact person, OiRA project contact person in Latvia. So I'm going to tell about the lessons we have learned from the OiRA project. Mainly, I will focus on promotional activities, on the facts, on activities, what we have done in Latvia, and as well as I'll give some tips what to do or how to do, because not always everything works, and that's clear from our activities. But I will start with one slide from two national surveys showing statistics that the compliance, also in Latvia, the compliance with legal requirements related to workplace risk assessment is the worst in the smallest companies. And before going further in details, I have to tell you that Latvia is a very small country in comparison with all previous countries. We have approximately 1 million workers working in Latvia, and if in France you have 25,000 of companies dealing with road transport, then I can say in Latvia you have only 40,000 companies at all. So it's rather difficult to compare the results from different countries, and in addition, I have to say that we were very seriously influenced by economical situation, and that's the reason why basically we don't have any financial support, internal financial support, which we can devote to OiRA project. So anything what we have done, it's done by internal resources. I mean, we have spent our own working time, and we had some possibilities to pay or to cover the transportation costs. And this is an advantage in Latvia, because in order to reach the most far corner of the country, you need to take a car and drive for 2.5 hours, and you are there, and you can have a seminar and get back on in the car and be back in the same working day, which is not the possibility for a lot of different countries. So when you look at the numbers from the two surveys, you see the typical trend that if the company is very small, it's more likely that there will be no risk assessment. And I'm not talking about the quality of workplace risk assessment, but on the fact whether you have or you don't have written risk assessment in Latvia. And if we have succeeded from 2010 and 2013 to improve to improve the situation in the companies with 6 to 10 and 11 to 24 employees, then still you can see that half of the companies do not comply in where they have employees, 2 to 5 employees. So this is our target group, the companies with 2 to 5 employees and 6 to 10 employees. This is the challenge, because we clearly see that if the company is, let's say, socially active, it's involved in any union, in professional association, or it's a member of chamber or member of employers confederation, it's more likely that the company complies also to legal acts on workplace risk assessment. But if the company is not active, it's almost impossible to reach it with the traditional means. Even you have great collaboration with trade unions, or you have great collaboration with employers confederation, you can't reach them, because they try to survive, they try to do their business, and that's really a very big challenge. So the current status with OiRA in Latvia is as following. We have 4 published modules. The first module was for offices. It was published in March 2013. And why offices was the first module? Because so many companies can use it, and we realized that if we will not succeed with offices, we will never succeed with any other tool. So the next one was for educational establishments, and that was an external request from National Educational Center, because it's like, let's say, a wave of health and safety, or improving health and safety in schools, in educational establishments, and we were lucky we could get on the same boat and integrate the questions related to occupational health and safety in their strategy. And this tool was published a year later, so in March of this year. 2 other tools, they are much younger. They were published in October, and small commercial shops were chosen because there was request from the companies. I mean, when we are on OiRA seminars in regions, then we always ask, how do you think which will be which is the next tool we should produce? And it was clearly expressed by the end users that small commercial shops, they don't have enough resources for buying the service, and they could do it themselves. Agriculture is totally different, totally different way. It's a political request. We have a very strong organization, say, for agriculture, for the employers working in agriculture, saying that OSH is a burden and it's only problems and it's papers and you don't have supports, although we have a lot of training materials and guidelines and soft law, but nothing was good enough for them, so we decided to give this tool for them. So there are some things I should mention about the content of the tool. We decided to put maximum information in the tool, clear links to legal acts, both to legal acts of national level on occupational health and safety, but also to legal requirements which are close to the topic. Like, for example, in school, for educational establishments, we have specific rules for health and safety for children. And for agriculture, you need to do a lot for chemicals in relation to REACH regulation. So we decided to give links and explanations also to this topic. So this is a unique place where you can find all legal requirements which are applicable in these small companies in these specific fields. Another thing is we also included a lot of links to informative materials like videos, which were mentioned already with YouTube, or posters which can be printed and put and placed in the company, or guides. But we also decided to go a bit further. We included also different activities related to workplace health promotion, and that's because we decided that OiRA tool can be used as an inspiration also for, let's say, good companies, not those who don't know and don't have risk assessment at all, but they can have good ideas how to improve their health and safety of the workers in the companies. So what are the main things we have done to promote the OiRA tool? These are mainly seminars in computer classes, and I'll explain about them a bit more. But what is very important, when we disseminate this information, we always include in these invitation letters also links to two different sources. So one is specific place, specific on our website. There's a specific part on OiRA, so they can read about OiRA more. And the other thing is we have, in seminars, we always use the same PowerPoint presentation. I will give a small part of it. I'll show example a bit later. And we have put this presentation on our SlideShare account. So everyone who wants to use, they can go directly through this PowerPoint presentation, and it gives tips how you how you can use OiRA, which are the steps, like something similar what Lorenzo showed you in some hours ago while presenting. So we have the same PowerPoint presentation showing these steps. And we also use social media like Twitter and Facebook for promotion of OiRA activities. We have also tried to publish articles in specialized OSH journals, but we have realized that this is not a very efficient way to promote OiRA, because OSH experts, they don't need themselves to use OiRA, but at the same time they don't want to share information, because OiRA makes their market where they work smaller. Although sometimes they believe that OiRA is okay, and they say yes, it's fine, but they don't want to share this information further. So we also have banners in main OSH-related web pages. We disseminate information through social partners, and I'll explain a bit later about a specific activity, Get Online Week, which was held in 2014. So one of the advantages of OiRA community is taking ideas from other countries. So now I can say, thanks to France, we have sort of stolen the idea of creating a single place where you write everything about OiRA. This is example of the website of State Labor Inspectorate, and the circle is around the place where everything you can read about OiRA. Because we also realize that when you start to talk about OiRA, you need to direct everyone to the single place, because as soon as you tell, for example, about Office tool, somebody reads that there is also a tool about schools, then he starts to look for this information. But as soon as you have all the information in single place, it's much easier for the end users to find it. And now some statistics about similar statistics which is used in France. We also use these data in Latvia. So basically, this graph shows that as soon as you do something, that doesn't mean it's not so important what you do. As soon as you do something, the statistics goes up, so people notice OiRA and they start to use. But you can see there are 3 points where when it's sort of the peaks. So I would say that the best promotional activity is publishing of tool and having seminars in the same months. So this is, I mean, combination of two activities is more important. And you can see, for example, in July 2030, we had this publication in this OiRA newsletter, specialized OiRA newsletter, and you can see that yes, there is a small increase, but it's not very important. And I'm sorry, I haven't included the data from November, but it's identical. The number of new OiRA users per month is identical to the number which was in October. So we have published 2 new tools and we had several seminars. So that's the reason why the numbers had gone up. And again, accumulated statistics. So now we have already more than 1,000 end users, so the company is using the OiRA tool, and it's approximately 1.2 assessments per one end user, so people tend to use in several companies. One end user does it in several companies. So some tips about the seminars. It's a computer class, 1 person per each computer, and per 10 persons there should be 1 OiRA expert. With OiRA expert, I mean the person who is good in end user side, not the content development, but who knows everything, how is the part of identification and assessment doing. Maximum 20% per group. That's because the rate of or knowledge of computer literacy is very different. Once we even had in the seminar the person who asked us, well, what does it mean, an email account? Although you get you always, when you invite to the seminars, you always say that it's interactive and it's online and you need to know the internet. But now, after that question, we inserted in the text the topic, the sentence in the invitation, the sentence like, if you are familiar with Facebook, and we have our national Draugi MLV, which is a sort of copy-paste to Facebook, then it will be fine with you. But you must be very sure that you must know that some of people, although they are not very good in computers, they think OiRA will be good for them. So, as I already mentioned, we are short of finances, so we don't have a lot of money to support, to rent premises. So public libraries and schools are very good in giving premises free of charge. And if you can't get a place there, just ask local authorities to help you, and most probably they will find them. The other thing is, although it's very good to have a sort of networking event like having coffee and a snack, with the computer class, it's always a problem. Imagine having a seminar in school. In school, you can't have coffee and snacks in the room because of technical reasons, and having, for example, in corridor with children running around. So that's what we have said, okay, if it's not compulsory, then we should not use this networking promotion. And what's also very important, it's easy to promote all tools at the same time, because as soon as a person comes, he is allowed to log onto the tool which he wants. So we even have sort of promotional activity for agriculture, and it turns out that out of 20 people, 5 are using office tool and 3 are using the tool for commercial shops. So this is an example slide it's in Latvian, explaining what Lorenzo told you. So we put these bullets and showing that what does it mean, explaining. So we show this, and then people are dealing partly for some minutes with what they do. So say they do risk assessment themselves step by step. We show this each slide step by step, and they repeat what we do. So Get Online Week was a unique activity in Latvia. In fact, European Get Online Week is a European event which is held in all countries, but only in end of this year, when there was a summary organized, it was clearly seen that Latvia was the most active country, and that's, I think, is also the reason why I understood that it's easy to put the OiRA topics into the agenda of this Get Online Week. So at the beginning, we had the special seminar organized for the regional coordinators. So we had a very short presentation of OiRA within this week. And then we also published a very short article for these people who are organizers. And why it's so important? It's important because that was a very easy way how you can get the message to people who are not directly involved in OiRA community. And that's again the question, that if you have somebody who supports you and who is not from OiRA community, the message is spread much faster than in cases you have only typical partners, social partners, or OiRA community. So what is important, looking back now, it's important that all the links are still available now on the internet. As soon as you publish the information, you can find this information in all in the websites of all partners. And in addition, we could organize seminars really almost free of charge, because we didn't have to think about the participants, we didn't have to register them, we just had to send an information about OiRA tool, and then we could go and have the seminars there. And what is important, from that time we have also a very good network. For each region you can find the regional coordinator for each local authority with contact details. So now it's easy, if you want to organize a seminar, you just need one phone call or one email. And finally, I would like to say that when you look at the pictures, you can clearly see, and looking at the participants, what is the mean age of the participant. And what I would like to stress is that in the way we use seminars, it's rather easy to involve people 50 plus. And I believe that it's because of their confidence in their IT skills. because younger generation, they get a link, it's easy for them to log in, and then they start to play. But people who are like, I would say 50 plus, they need that somebody standing next to them, helping and saying, yes, you are right, everything is fine. And that's help them to go through all the steps. And my last slide is about what next. So it's a clear decision for us that we are going to have at least one tool per year. But we are also looking at the next European Social Fund period, where we think we will include creation of several tools in Latvia. We will definitely focus on more regional seminars, because it has been already mentioned that these people who come to the seminars, they believe that being at the seminar, it's sort of payment already, because they can't work and earn money in that time, so they can't make business. So we must take from their time as less as we can. So that means length of the seminar is approximately 1.5 hours, and they don't need to travel, or they need to travel only to the closest to their place. And we are going to organize regional seminars with industry-specific associations, which is basically publishing information in those websites where industry-specific companies come. So, for example, we are going to organize more seminars on agricultural tools in the regions of Latvia where agriculture is more developed. And it's also like in Greece, OiRA modules, they are going to be used in vocational schools for training of students who study a specific occupation, that when they become employers, they can use themselves the tool, or when they become an employee, they can suggest their employer, look, this is a good tool, I know how to do it, and I'll help you to do it. So thank you for attention, and this was our experience.
Grazie, assolutamente interessante lo sviluppo del tool nel settore dell'agricoltura, perché è uno dei settori che anche noi prima o poi vorremmo affrontare, perché evidentemente c'è un mandato specifico anche a livello legislativo di semplificare la legislazione, quindi costruire tools che supportino il settore dell'agricoltura nella valutazione dei rischi. Quindi l'esperienza della Lettonia in questo settore specifico potrà essere di utilità per l'Italia quando ci approcceremo a questo settore. Io vi ringrazio per la pazienza, per l'attenzione. Lasciamo quindi la presentazione dell'Italia domani, non l'abbiamo fatta apposta per darvi un po' di suspense, e quindi domani poi ci vediamo qui alle 9 in questa stessa sala, e quindi poi faremo anche la sessione interattiva. Io mi aspetto dalla platea un po' di domande per vivacizzare ancora di più questa sessione. Grazie a tutti e buona serata.